Hello, listeners. This is Joanna from Mindful Counseling. It is Saturday, May 23rd. Just reaching out to you. I figured one of the topics that I can talk to you about today is masks and what they're doing to us and how they're affecting us in some ways. Now, of course, we need them for many different reasons. So I'm not here to say that we should not be wearing them. I am here to talk to you about how masks and how they're hiding most of our faces today and how that affects our communication with others. And what I mean by that is how important facial expressions are to us. Not just eyes, because as we know, just by looking into someone's eyes, we can in some ways tell if someone's smiling or maybe if they're upset. But the mouth has a lot to do with the completion of the facial expressions. And of course, how important that is to all of us. We thrive on those cues. Sometimes we don't even have to hear someone speak, but we automatically can tell what might be going on or how they're feeling just by looking at their face. We know when someone's angry, when someone's sad or upset and even happy. I almost want to say how we're kind of hiding our smiles today, that at some point we don't even know if we should smile because no one's looking at it. I've noticed we're taking pictures, of course, but because we're seeing maybe some of our loved ones and our friends, and we're still keeping the social distance, but we're wearing masks and we're smiling, but yet questioning whether or not we should smile because the smiles are not visible. They're not in pictures. It's only the mask. So how much we're hiding all that. And also, and this is another part of it too, is how, and I hope someone can hear this and maybe, I hope, do something about it. I'm not necessarily that creative in that sense, but I hope someone is. How important facial recognition is for an infant, for a toddler. They look onto our faces to then react. Now, mind you, of course, we all do this as adults, but the babies thrive on it because they don't have the ability to speak yet. So the only way they can respond in some ways is by looking at our faces and our voices. It's one thing to speak in a soft voice, but it's another to actually see the face. If you notice when you speak to a toddler, an infant, a baby, the minute you smile at them and you show your actual smile, the babies respond by mimicking that. When they are at a point where they can eat, in some ways we teach them how to chew by moving our mouth up and down. So the children respond to it, the babies respond to it. So my purpose in this podcast today is to really explore that, to think about it, and maybe there's a different way of coming up with these masks for however long we're going to wear them, whether hopefully we'll stop one day. I don't know, maybe you will have to revisit them again. But I know there was someone, and I've seen it on one of those social media posts, had posted a mask for the deaf, for those who are deaf, and how you can wear a mask but yet still see the lips moving, so that way they can read the lips, right? Because that's the way they communicate, by reading the lips and of course the hand movements. So I hope that maybe there's a way to bring this up where this is important for not just that specific population, but for all of us, for the babies, for the infants who are here today, who are born and who will be born, and who are in this transition of 6 months to a year to 2 years, how important it is for them to see our faces so that way they can have an emotional connection and know how to smile, how to express emotions based on how we express them to them. If we hide behind a mask, and the only response that the children are getting is really just the vocal one. Maybe they can see our eyes moving a certain way, and because of our facial expressions that we might be making, they're still not necessarily seeing our faces, our mouth. So I want this podcast to really just speak out and to go further in a sense of ability to share our emotional expressions, facial expressions with babies, toddlers, children, and everybody else, of how important that is, how much we react based on someone's face and the way it is expressed. Anger, we automatically have an idea what anger looks like on our faces. Happiness, I cannot emphasize enough how much we look for that in other people. I recognize it for myself when I'm looking at someone with a mask or myself with a mask, and I'm smiling, saying hello. They cannot see my face. They cannot see my lips moving or even smiling, even though I know that that's what I'm doing. So the reaction, we're only in some ways more heightened towards what we're hearing versus towards what we're seeing. But I think it's important to know how important both are. Importance of facial expressions, even in a distance, to be able to let someone know that we're smiling, or that we're sad or frustrated. I would hope so that there's more smiles regardless of what's going on, but I hope that we can express that with positivity, so that way the feedback is received, so that way others can learn how to respond the same way, and the others meaning the babies. So I think maybe more of this podcast is more so about gearing towards the children and the babies and how important our facial expression is. I do wonder for myself, even as a therapist, when I go back into my office and I will be sitting with my clients, how will that look like? Because once again, will I be wearing a mask? Will someone else be wearing a mask? And now we're only just listening. We're not seeing. So we necessarily cannot respond towards the body language, the facial expressions. That's what I mean. And I don't like it, to be honest with you. I know we need it, and I am for it. I am wearing my mask each time I step out. However, I am more concerned about how it is received and what the emotional, the mental, the psychological effects of wearing a mask might possibly be for, especially if we wear it for a long time. So once again, like, I do wonder about it for my office. How will that look like? How much of a distance will I need? And how important I think, even if I have to wear a mask, it is for me to show my lips, so that way others can see it, so others can see how I'm speaking. And if I'm smiling, they can see my lips and my teeth. And if I'm upset, they can see my, frown face. So I think it's important to express that. I think it's important to just understand that as human beings, as social beings, that we don't just thrive on physical connections, but we do thrive on emotional expressions, and how much that secures particular feelings in us. Body behavior is one thing, but once again, facial expressions is another. And I would have to say it's probably one of the first things that we recognize when we see someone, besides, of course, the body language, how someone moves their hands or doesn't move their hands, or how they sit. The facial expression is, I would probably say for myself, is my number one important factor of how we communicate with others, and the others being adults, the others being babies, the other ones children. It's important. It's important to smile. It's important for others to see us smile. It's important to express if we're sad. and angry. I'm angry, and I would hope that comes in portions, and that it's manageable and in a healthy way. But it's important to be seen. When my daughter looks at me and she wants a particular feedback based on what she does, and if it's something great, the first thing that she looks at is my face. How will I respond? Am I smiling? Am I smiling with my mouth and my eyes? And she responds to it. So I notice that's what she responds to. And if I'm upset or, telling her what she needs to do, chores or some form of a discipline, she definitely, first thing, once again, is looks on my face. And that automatically triggers her to respond a particular way. I don't even have to say anything. The minute I show my face in a particular way, she responds. So once again, how important the facial recognition is in the way we communicate and have always communicated, and hopefully will continue to communicate, so that way we do not forget this. Once the masks come off, I would hope we do not forget how to smile and how important it is for us emotionally, physically, and mentally, and psychologically, whatever other words might come up in there. I think we all can understand how important that is. So the lesson for today, I think, is you're wearing your masks, whatever it is that you're doing. Look at your children and other adults and see how they respond based on how you present your face, the expressions that you make, and see how quickly they will respond to it. And look how quickly, notice it for yourself, you respond towards other individuals' facial expressions. Something, food for thought to think about today, to use as an exercise, and hopefully to be more aware of it today. Until next time, be safe and be well.